So hello guys and welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video we shall be looking at how you can build a chatbot with LangGraph. Alright, so in the previous video I talked about how you can actually build build with LangGraph. We'll try to demystify LangGraph, how LangGraph works, and we'll try to look at the basic building block, which includes the state, the node, the edges, and the graph. So I will link in the description a link to the video so that if you've not watched the video, you go back and watch it because you need to understand that before you can actually follow in this particular video. So today we'll be integrating a line graph. We shall be integrating a chatbot into the line graph. All right, so let's see how we can actually integrate a chatbot with the line graph. Now, this is not just making LLM calls and then getting a response. This is building it to be very structural. So LangGraph will help you if you are building your chatbot to build a very structured system where you can actually add a lot of features to them. So this is one of the advantage of building with LangGraph. So let's continue to actually see how we can achieve this. So first of all, we need to import various libraries. So I want to zoom in a little bit. All right, so yeah, so first of all, we need to import various libraries, which from the line graph we are importing the start, the end, the messages state, and then the state graph. Now, I'm going to be explaining this messages state. All right, so this messages state is the schema we shall be using for our chatbot. So this schema has been built by LangGraph. All right, so this is the schema we'll be using for our chatbot. It was developed by LangGraph. Now, how does this schema work? So this schema is a type dict that have one member variable. The member variable is called messages. And this member variables holds a list of messages. So anytime you are trying to access it, you shall be accessing it as a list of messages. So in a subsequent video, I'm going to making a video on this particular schema, trying to maybe explain this far better so that we can actually understand it very well. So, but in today's video, just understand that this schema has one member variable called messages, and messages is a list of messages. All right, so that is just how it works. It's a list holding both human message, AI message, tool message. So those are different messages. So it's a list holding these messages. All right, then this is the state graph. All right, so we're working with Groq. So we're importing chat Groq from LangGraph Groq, and also importing our human message and system message. All right, and then our API key is an environment variable, so we import .env and then OS. So we run this. All right, so this is done. Then we're going to initialize our LLM. All right, so from the Groq, we are using the OpenAI GPT OSS 120 billion model, and then we are passing the API key. Okay, so run this as well, and it will initialize the LLM. So, all right, as it's running, let's look at our system message. So the next thing is to initialize the system message. So we're going to be using a system message. So the system message is saying that you are an intelligent visual assistant built to support Felix in a wide range of practical tasks and learning activities. So this is defining the tasks that we want the chatbots to be performing. So here now, the system message is instructing the chatbot to answer any question that the user is asking. All right, answer it in a systematic way. Also passing the user's name so that the chatbot knows who is using it. All right, so we can run this. and then we'll initialize the system message. All right, so now let's look at our node. So let's define our node here. Okay, so the node is where we're going to make our LLM call. So this is just the simple LLM call that we actually know. All right, so but we are passing it, we're going to passing it into a node, and then we'll have it in a graph. So we'll now see how it can run. All right, so this is our node, the LLM call, and we are picking the state. And remember, the state is a type of messages state. All right, and then it shall be returning a messages state as well. So first of all, what we need to get is the messages inside the state. So the messages inside the state are inside this member variable messages. So that is why we have them in this variable msg state messages. So we already have the messages. Remember, this is a list of messages that are inside the state. All right, then we'll make our LLM call. So we are saying LLM.invoke, and we are passing our system message and then the list of messages in the messages state. So any response we got, remember, responses from the LLM is always a type of AI message. So we are returning it and we are adding it to the messages. All right, so this is just basically what we are doing here. So just like I said, in a subsequent video, I'll be explaining how this works and how when you pass this here, it will be able to be added to the messages state. So can run this and then we are good. So let's define our graph. So just the simple and basic things that we've always done. We'll create an instance of the state graph while passing the schema, which is the builder. Then we'll add a node, giving it a name. We are passing the LLM call, which is this function we'll have here, giving it a name, and then we are building our edges from start to LLM call, from LLM call to end, and then we compile, just basic, and then we try to draw out the graph so that we can actually see it, so that this is what we have. So whenever we invoke this graph, it goes from start to the LLM call, from the LLM call it ends. Just as simple as that, very basic. So let's invoke our graph now. So this is the query. Who are you and what can you do for me? So this is the input query, and we're going to make this our input a human message, because this is the message the human is asking the AI. All right, so we make it a human message, and then we're going to be passing it while invoking our agent or our graph. Now let's see how we invoke. So this is the result. We'll say graph.invoke. The input is, remember that what you invoke your graph with is must be a member variable from your state. Our state is messages state, and one of the member variables is messages. Remember, it is of a type dic, so it is a dictionary. All right, so that is why we'll have this dictionary here, messages, and then we are passing this message here. So that is what we are invoking our agent with. So this should be a list as well, so it wouldn't return an error. Good, so this should be a list, so it won't return an error. Then we run our agent or our graph. So it is done running now. So let's look at what it returned. Okay, let's look at what it returned. Remember in the last video, I told us that after running your graph, it returns the current state of the graph. All right, so this is the current state of the graph, which is a dictionary having messages as the key inside it. All right, having messages as the key inside it. So let's now look at messages. So if we look at messages, we see that messages returned a list. It returned a list, and the list was containing two values, which two messages, which is one the human message and the second one is the AI message. So the human message is the message that we passed, and then the AI message was the response we got from the AI. So this is just how it works. So this will help to retain your conversation, knowing that okay, this the human asked this question and then the AI was able to get this particular response. That is the advantage of using the messages state, which we are going to look at it in a subsequent video and see how it behaves, and then you'll be able to understand it more. So if you want to access this, where we are interested is in the last message here, which was the response we got from the AI. Okay, so this last message, for us to access it, we can access it this way, and then we'll be accessing the last message. So if we want to run this, this is the last message, then we can actually say dot content, and we'll be able to get the actual content. So let's print this. So, and then this is an actual structured response. Okay, so it's saying hello Felix. You see that it was able to recognize my name because at the system message we added the name, and it's be able to give you a bunch of response. So this is how we're able to get the response, the actual response from the model. All right, so this is one way to access it. Then another way to access this is, I'm going to show you something. Remember that results of messages is a list, right? Oh, this is an error. Result of messages is a list. So I can actually iterate this and then pick the messages one after the other. So I can say for m in result of messages. All right, so, and then I can say m dot pretty print. So pretty print is a method that you can use to print messages on the screen. So the type of, whether it's a human message, AI message, and tool message, it comes with the LangChain. So it's a member function here. All right, so pretty print. So we are now printing the entire message. So the first was the human message, which was the question we asked the AI, and the next was the AI message, which was the response the AI gave. So this is just basically how you can get this response. All right, so I can comfortably now make a query like this. Let me show us. I can comfortably make a query like this, and then I'll say for m in messages in all right, so now let me add some other questions. So what is the best skill I can learn this 2025? All right, and then we'll run the graph. Okay, we'll have our response. All right, so let's see. So first of all, we'll have the human message and then the AI message, and we're having our bunch of response. Okay, so think down here it has a list of skills, Gen AI, data literacy, and all that. So this is how you can actually get your response. So we've been able to build a chatbot with LangGraph. Now we've now orchestrated our LLM core into a learning graph, And inside the running graph, we'll be able to manage our messages using the messages state. All right, then we'll be able to see, okay, these are the messages, the input and the outputs. All right, so when we will notice something here, you see that when I ask this next question, the agent doesn't remember the previous question I asked and the response. This is because there is no memory. In a subsequent video, we're also going to talk about memory and how the agent or the chatbot will be able to remember all your conversation with it. All right. So, but here now, it only remembers the immediate state of the current graph it ran. So we'll look at that in a subsequent video. So this is just how you can use the LangGraph to build a running graph of a chatbot, managing your messages and then be able to be getting the responses from the AI. All right, so if you like our video so far, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the YouTube channel. I have tons of tutorials coming for you on building AI multi-agents with both LangChain, LangGraph, and a couple of other tools. Stay tuned. Meanwhile, keep coding. See you in the next video.